On today's Saturday news, AEW have added injury time to Kenny Omega's contract.
Got backstage news on if Mercedes Mone is going to be in AEW.
We have an update on the main event plans for Wrestlemania 39 Night Uno.
And we'll announce the boss, the stream, the prize winner from our stream. Are you ready? Are you ready for the news time? My name is Phil Chambers and I'm joined by Gareth Morgan to talk all things wrestling news. But before we get into it, make sure you like the video, comment down below. Salty Sea Dog's also here.
Hey.
Subscribe to the channel and links to each news is in the description, so click them and off you go. But first up...
Set me up for a fall there, Phil. You sabotaged me with that delivery. Outstanding. But yeah, the first thing we're going to talk about, it's something that's kind of been in the news for the last week or so. Kenny Omega's contract situation. What is going on? There was reports like last week that WWE was circling around Omega, like watching what was going on with this contract situation, because the initial reports were that it was set to expire January 31st. I think that's been all cleared up now. That was what was supposed to happen, but obviously he was injured for roughly 9 months. So a lot of people were thinking maybe AEW have something in their contracts where you can add a bit of time on for injuries and just extend those deals accordingly. And now we have had confirmation from the Wrestling Observer newsletter from Dave Meltzer, who said that AEW President Tony Khan has done exactly that. But we don't know exactly how much time has been added to the deal. He's not just come out and said, yeah, he's going to be there for another 9 months. There's probably a lot of technicalities to it, but he did stress this. He is actually under contract right now. He's not doing a Cody. He's not just doing a word of mouth, not word of mouth, but you know what I mean, like a verbal deal or anything like that. He's very much there still. So Just rest easy. He's not running away to WrestleMania. So that's a twist in it. Not a twist, but that's a development, let's say, in itself. And yeah, it's not exactly known at this point when that's going to run out. I think the Young Bucks as well were said to think their deals are apparently going to be running out towards the end of this year. I think I heard that somewhere. So that's the Elite. All the Elite looking like their deals might be coming to an end by the back end of 2023. And Dave also said in his Observer newsletter, of the most recent one anyway, he said that he's under the belief, he's not 100% certain on this, but he's under the belief that the suspension that Omega had, like obviously after All Out, Brawl Out, all that kind of stuff, that's not going to be something that can lead to more time being added to this deal. It's just something that happened. He had the suspension. It wasn't something that can be thrown into this kind of mix for added time. So yeah, it doesn't look like WWE are going to get Omega anytime soon, but I don't know, there could be more twists in the tail further down the road. This is just another sprinkle, another addition to the ongoing Omega contract saga. They are words I did not expect to be talking about in 2023.
Yes, there's been a lot of rumors about Kenny Omega and WWE wanting him, and I guess maybe Tony Khan's heard these rumors as well and gone, no, let's lock this up right now. This is not happening, guys. Let's lock it up. It's mine, he's mine. But yeah, like you say, we'll keep you informed as to whenever we find out more about the length of this and what's going to happen afterwards and whether he renews his contract or anything like that. It's all up for grabs at the minute, but it's all very interesting with all these contracts coming up and a huge part. Well, the E in All Elite Wrestling, all sort of seemingly questioning, I guess, what is actually going to happen in the future, which I don't think we ever would have got before Cody did the move.
Changed the game. He changed the game, didn't he?
But speaking of changing the game, Mercedes Mone. I've got some background news. Well, I don't have it. Mike Johnson of PW Insider has it, and I'm just copying him. Mercedes Mone. He basically says that if she wants to be in Forbidden Door, she could be. There's nothing stopping her in terms of her contracts with New Japan and things like that. But in terms of doing something a bit more long-term with AEW, this apparently isn't a priority for her at the minute. Now, Meltzer has previously said that he knows people within WWE who believe that she won't go and wrestle full-time with AEW. Part of the reason for that being that she'd have to make long-term commitment to them to do that. But he's also come up with some new news in the latest Wrestling Observer, basically saying that Mone is only on the books for 2 more New Japan matches. But they both have dates and wrestlers attached to them. So she is going to be doing her first challenger for her belt will be AZM at Sakura Genesis on April 8th. And then the second one will be Iwatani in Yokohama in Japan on April 23rd, which is going to be very, very, very good. So Mone has spoken of wanting to do a world tour as part of this kind of comeback to wrestling. So there's perhaps going to be a lot more in store past this, and this is just the very beginning of it. She's spoke with TV Insider before, saying that she's a free agent and can appear wherever she wants with the deals that she's got in place. So she can be in Impact, she can be in Mexico, Europe, and other parts of the world, she mentioned. But she also spoke about AEW and CMLL's New Japan affiliations. So it seems like there is the possibility of her going everywhere with New Japan as a kind of sort of base place for her, New Japan and Stardom anyway, and then going out from there. So I would not be surprised to see Mercedes Mone in AEW Forbidden Door. You never know. Things could happen.
Yeah, and what I like about this more than anything is, pun intended, it feels like she's her own boss. And she can do whatever she wants in this scenario. She can go on a world tour if she wants to go on a world tour. She can stop by AEW if she wants. She just doesn't want to limit herself, and she's living her best life. So for me, do whatever you want to do, Mercedes Mone. If you want to go and pop up in Germany and just have a random match over there and then go back to Japan and then pop up in AEW and have a little showcase bout, do it. It's great for us, and it's giving a bit more attention to maybe places that aren't getting that massive star like Mercedes Mone every day of the week. So I like that. I feel like she's in a way giving back, but in a similar way, she's also just like fulfilling her dreams of doing whatever the hell she wants.
Living her best life and doing all the things she always wanted to do.
Best kind of free agent, and she's filming things as well and being a producer. Like, she is, living the dream. We love to see it. And things that we'd also love to see, hopefully, is one of the main events of WrestleMania 39, the night one main event. We'd love to see, in my opinion anyway, a woman match going on. Not just a woman at WrestleMania. Just a woman.
Parade her out in the main event. There you go.
We'd love to see a woman. Yeah, the crowd goes wild. No, I'd like to see a women's match main event.
Man, it's time for the main event.
Yeah, literally, it has been. I think that people backstage feel that way as well. We had 2 men's main events last year, which were great main events, but again, it was a bit of a sausage party, let's say, when it came to the main events last year. And we want to see some women, and that is the feeling in WWE, and that's according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, because they've said the current favourite for that card closing spot is Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. And this is because sponsors, political reasons, a lot of different things, people, like it has said, are looking at the fact that you had 2 men's main events last year and thinking, well, probably should go for a women's one, at least one this year. Come on, we've got a lot of talented women on this roster. And this is probably the match that is the strongest, let's say, women's match that's been booked at this point, because Bianca Belair and Asuka, that is still going to be probably a pretty awesome match, let's be honest, but it's just not quite maybe on that level for star power and things like that. I think it's very small margins, let's be honest, because Bianca Belair is an absolute star and Asuka's a badass, so I'd be quite happy seeing either. And it's the way they booked in the lead up as well, because things could change and twist and turn, like that should all be taken into account. And another late potential favourite for this main event spot for night one is obviously a match that hasn't been confirmed yet, but Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus the Usos. If that does happen, Dave Meltzer and a lot of people probably think, well, maybe that could main event because it's got Sami Zayn in it, who's one of the most popular people in all of wrestling. You've got the Bloodline saga, storyline, all that. Why wouldn't that go on last as well? But again, maybe that won't happen because of the fact we had all those men's main events like last year. So yeah, it's a lot of things to kind of consider, a lot of moving parts in that. And speaking of moving parts, Dave has a few potential matches that he thinks could be confirmed, probably will get confirmed, and he's kind of ran those down as well in the Observer. The almost Brock Lesnar thing, he's saying if you're just going to watch television, if you're like looking at what they've given to you right now, that looks like the way they're going. Obviously, they could just swerve you with the angle that they're setting up next week. That could just be a massive thing. And I don't know, Stone Cold Steve Austin could come down, just stun him, be like, I want a match with you. And then they go and do that at WrestleMania, which everyone would love, wouldn't they? And apparently, the plans for Brock changed in the last couple of weeks. There were plans in place, but they didn't involve Gunther. So there you go. A lot of people were thinking that was going to be the IC title thing, and they were getting all giddy about that. But apparently there were plans, and those plans shifted to something else. Maybe it was the Bobby Lashley match happening at WrestleMania and they moved it to Elimination Chamber. I don't know. And on top of this, also, was something that's said to be a lock is Seth Rollins against Logan Paul. Obviously, like everything that happened at Elimination Chamber. And that match sounds like it's going to be pretty amazing when it does happen, because these two are just freaks, aren't they? And then you got Edge versus Finn Balor, and that's looking like it's going to come with a major stipulation. A lot of people are thinking probably Hell in a Cell, because that was planned for the Royal Rumble apparently, but then Edge's acting schedule got in the way of that, and that like they couldn't build to it properly and all that kind of stuff. On top of that, then you've got Austin Theory and John Cena battling over the US title. Like that's got all the stuff, like all the bells and whistles, and want Austin Theory to be presented as the next big superstar superstar. Bobby Lashley and Bray Wyatt are doing some weird stuff. Bray Wyatt went into his Firefly Funhouse last night and just got all weird again. And then you got Dominic Mysterio kicking his father's ass. That's been lined up for quite some time. So these are all potential things. And then you got the Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler challenging for the women's tag team championships. And they're either going to be taking on the team of Damage Control or Becky Lynch and Lita. That's what it's looking like right now because they've obviously got their match on Raw. So again, just so many moving parts, things that could happen, potentially will happen, might not happen. But if the majority of these matches do go down at WrestleMania, that is a hell of a 2-night card already. So let's just see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think anyone had Shayna Baszler going up against Lita as part of a WrestleMania bingo card.
Madness.
But yeah, no, it's shaping up to be absolutely great. I think the main event scene definitely would be nice to get a women's match in there, but if you're just looking at it objectively of what kind of deserves that spot, it's kind of gotta be Sami and KO versus the Usos. Like, especially if you look like historically at the Usos' past track record in WrestleMania, they've not had the best run a lot of the times, ending up on pre-show matches and things like that. It'd just be sort of really, really nice for them to have sort of such a massive showcase thing, especially considering it's part of the biggest storyline in wrestling right now, and like one of the biggest stars with Sami Zayn, and the like most longest running storyline in WWE. Like, it kind of deserves it, and it'd be a first in itself of putting sort of the tag team titles in that kind of a position, which would be massive in it on its own.
Yeah, and it's one of them where it's like, as much as I would like to see a women's match, like a women's championship match in that main event, you got to book it, you got to build it, you got to make this feel like it's something that's worthy going on last. It needs to go on last. When you had the Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair match at WrestleMania 37, that had been built to a point where people were like, I just want to see these two in the main event. They deserve it. It's going to be a hell of a match. Let's do this thing. And then when it did happen, it didn't feel out of place. Whereas I think if one of those matches, at this point anyway, the way that the stories have been told, it would just feel like it's been put on there as an obligatory, like, oh, there we go, look at us, like, getting all the headlines for the right reasons, which is fine, but I don't know. Like you said, storylines should merit the place, you know what I mean? You should get the best stories in the main events.
Absolutely. But to finish off the video today, we had a live stream on Saturday for the Elimination Chamber. Thank you very much to everyone that joined us. But we've been meaning to give a prize out from that. Everybody that super chatted on that goes into a little pot, and then the people who win that win a shirt from WrestlingVintage.com. But YouTube's been a bit weird with the data this week and not giving it all to me, so I've finally got it. So we can finally do it. So I've got this big, beautiful Wheel of Names. Ooh.
Wheel of Names!
Yay! And I'm gonna give it a click and a spin. Here it goes, and a click, and off it goes, and round it goes. Where it stops, nobody knows. Ooh, is it gonna be Eric Campbell? No. Markley Willis? No. It's Mick Cloud!
Hey, Mick Cloud!
Yay!
That guy.
Well done, Mick Cloud. So, Mick Cloud, if you're watching, leave a comment below, find out how you can get in touch with us, drop me a DM on Twitter if you're on Twitter. If you're not watching, I'll find one of your comments on a video and reply to it, and try and get your details that way. But congratulations to Mick Cloud, you win a shirt from WrestlingVintage.com. And if you want, you can still go to WrestlingVintage.com, I think, and use the code WhatCulture to get 15% off, like Wrestling Vintage wrestlers inspired football jerseys and things. They're really, really good.
That's pretty cool.
So go check them out. But that is today's video.
Hey.
Well done, Mick Cloud. Yay, exciting. Follow us on Twitter. You can follow me at PhilMyChambers. You can follow Gareth
on Spin the Wheel, GMorgan04. Great.
There it is. You can follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment down below what you think of all of today's stories, including where you want Kenny Omega and Mercedes Mone. I almost said Sasha Banks then.
Yep.
To end up. Ups and Downs for Rampage and SmackDown is on its way, so make sure you watch those as well. But most importantly, have yourselves a bloody good day.
Bye-bye.